Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Jennifer Scrapping Cane. Today I'm sharing acrylic stash busting with my friends Nicole Santos, Jessica Michaels, and Natalie Dill. I will have their information down below. I believe all three of them are playing along. I'm not sure. I'm recording this a little bit ahead in the month, so I will leave their links down below if they have a layout available. I'm going to show you what I'm going to use on today's layout. I have 3 photos of my son eating a caramel apple. This was the first time that he had chosen a caramel apple to eat. I thought he had ate one before, but he said no. So I went ahead and took some fun pictures of him because he was enjoying it so much. He said it was the best thing ever. And he loves apples. So I was really surprised he had never had one before. And I'm going to use a Scraproom kit. I have all the embellishments that I have over to the left-hand side as I was telling you about the photos. I already showed you those, and those are what came in the kit, so that's what I'm going to use. I was so glad to receive the kit, and then I received caramel apple theme like products, so it was perfect. And I have quite a few 12 by 12s. I'm going to use, I believe, almost 3 of them on the layout. This layout will be paper heavy and it will have lots of leaves and other embellishments. These laser cuts I pulled from my stash. They are the ones that go with this collection. I had bought them ahead of time. And then I also have the rub-ons that I bought. So I'm going to go ahead and add those in. This acrylic piece is from Color Cast Designs, along with these little wood veneer leaves. And I will get the I Love You and the wood veneer leaves, some of them used on the layout. The sequins are from Spiegelmom Scraps. They're Cedar Fall, or Fall Cider, sorry, Cedar Fall, Fall Cider. And this here is a Miss Kate's Cuttable. It is available online and it's a download digital file that you can cut. This one was pre-cut by Some Assemblage Required. It was part of her 31 Days of Cut Files MK Gun, and I believe it was 2 years ago. It could have only been maybe a year ago, but I think it was 2 years ago. And I didn't participate during that time, but I ordered the cut files. So I still have them in my stash. I've used quite a few of them, but these ones I still had in my stash. And I'm glad I looked to see which ones I had available because I had a caramel apple. And I am going to only do one of them. I have all of them that I showed on the sheet, including the title Apple of My Eye, which I plan on using probably not this month, but here soon for photos of my son when he was younger, just learning to talk. And one of his very first words actually was apple. He loved apples. He still loves apples, obviously. So here what I'm doing is using acrylic paint to paint the files. They're cut out on plain white cardstock, and I didn't gesso them or anything. I just decided to paint them with acrylic paint and see how it worked out, and it ends up working out perfectly. The brown one is the caramel, and then the tan color is the nuts, and then this part is the apple. And only the very top part of the apple is going to show, so that's the only part I'm painting. And I painted it with a dauber. I painted the other two with daubers too, and then I also sprayed them with Shimmer's Baby's Breath, which is like a clear shimmery spray. And when you spray it on, then it leaves a shimmer on the project, whatever you're spraying. So here I just mixed a little bit of white acrylic paint and a little bit of the yellow, and I'm going to make the stick. So that's what I was painting there, was a little tiny stick. And I'm just going to move these off, throw this packaging away since that's why I used it, so I could just toss it. I'm spraying the Baby's Breath on the apple part and just kind of rolling it around, making sure it covers it completely. And then I did roll part of it off, but the shine is still there. It's still shiny in real life. And there's my little stick. And I'm actually going to round the stick on the end with a corner rounder because it's actually straight. And nobody would see a straight stick in an apple. If it's poked in the apple, it would look round. So to make it look a little bit more realistic, I went ahead and cut it with a corner rounder. And my apple is complete. I haven't put it together yet. I'm going to start matting my photos. And this here, I'm using the scraps that are left over after deciding how I was going to make my background. I kind of did this backwards. I should have did my background, and then you would know where the scraps came from, but it all works out in the end. So two of the photos are going to get this yellow. It's like a creamy yellow. It's not really bright. It's definitely yellow though, like a beige yellow. And it is going to match two of the photos, the two photos that are kind of similar. One of them he's smiling in, one of them he's just looking at me like, okay, just take the picture. And then the other one in the middle is going to be like the center stage photo. And that one he's sticking his tongue out at me and actually smiling, which I love. But don't tell him because then he won't smile for me no more. He does not usually participate in me taking photos of him, but this day he was in a good mood and he let me take some pictures. So I got pictures of him eating a caramel apple because we were talking about it, and I was like, "Well, haven't you had one before?" And he was like, "No, I don't think I've ever ate a caramel apple before." And I was like, "Oh, well, what do you think of it?" And he's like, "This is the best thing ever." And he loved it. It was a very good apple. It was juicy and everything on the inside, so he got a good one. And he's had like two more since then. So here I'm adding the main photo on two different papers. The yellow one with flowers, and this is actually a piece from one of the other papers. I think I just cut it off. And then this one here is like it reminds me of caramel, like a caramel color. And that's going to be part of the background here in a minute. I will show you the background. But first, I'm going to put this apple together. And again, this is a Miss Kate Cuttables. And you can get these on Silhouette Design Space. And you can also get it, I believe they're on the Cricut cuts too, but I'm not sure because I don't have a Cricut. I have a Silhouette. And I know that Silhouette, they're definitely available on there. But she has lots of different cut files that you can cut like this and put together. Usually I don't color them like this. If I cut them, I usually cut them on pattern paper, and that's just my preference, or I use colored cardstock to cut them. I don't really care for coloring, so I usually don't do the coloring. I usually just go the easy route and I'll do cardstock instead. But since these came pre-cut, I had to go ahead and color them. So here's the papers that I plan on using. The apple one here that has the apple hanging off the tree. I'm going to add it here at the end. And the mat that I'm working on is a perfect double 8.5 by 11 mat. So it is, what is that? 17 inches by 11. So, and it's by American Crafts. And I'm just going to use that as my guide. And then I'm going to cut this side down to 8.5 by 11, and then use that one to piece together the other one. And I'm going to cover up the apple on this side just because that's where I'm going to put my caramel apple that I created. So I needed kind of a blank space for that to go. And then I'm going to attach it to this background piece here, and we will be all set. And this is usually how I create backgrounds, is I just piece it together. I've gotten kind of creative as far as creating backgrounds for 8.5 by 11 because you can do a lot and stretch the paper a lot more if you create your own backgrounds using all the different pattern papers. So that's usually what I do. Not always, but a lot of times that's what I do. And then I'm going to place the photos just like this. Two of them will kind of cross the middle, but only the corners of the photos, so it's not really a big deal. And then my apple, I'm going to place there down at the bottom on the left-hand side. And then I'm going to place my title at the top on the left-hand side. And my title is just going to be Plentiful, and then I placed it on top of the Apple Orchard card that came in the ephemera pack, along with a red tag that is also I had cut part of it for my other layout that I did on the 6th of November using this kit. So the piece that I had left over, I just tucked it in behind the title piece. And then I tucked in a little green tag that came with the other ephemera pieces. I'm adding a few rub-ons in the background, and unfortunately, once again, my camera cut out. So I will talk a little bit more about how I created the background as I add sequins and other items to the layout. Mainly, I'm going to add sequins here in a minute. I've already done paint splattering. If you look a little bit closely, you can see there's white paint splatters on the apple and up at the top at the apple laser cuts and over the title piece. I'm really mad that I didn't realize my camera cut out because I added a whole lot on here, but obviously you'll just have to look at the close-ups and see if you can tell where I added what and how I did it. But um, there's a lot of leaves that are stacked up behind the title piece Plentiful. And then also on the right hand side where the apple was on the paper already, I had to end up covering it kind of sort of with the photo. So then I used another laser cut that looked just like it, but it was a little bit smaller from the laser cuts. And I popped it up on play foam. And then I added more leaves over there. I added leaves down at the bottom of the photos. And all of those leaf clusters had butterflies in them. So if you look at the laser cut sheet and you're like, those leaves aren't available here. Well, they are, but they have butterflies in those leaf piles. And I cut the butterflies either off or I tucked them underneath the photo so you couldn't see them. And that was just a preference. I did add the one butterfly up at the top, but these leaf clusters all had like 2 or 3 butterflies in each of them. So that would have been a lot of butterflies. So I went ahead and just cut them off or tucked them in. And then I added rub-ons basically just over under the apples and the leaves on the left and right side. Since there's already kind of rub-ons in the background on that paper, it looks like the rub-ons already. So I didn't add any there. And then down at the bottom on that little tag, I'm getting ready to tuck a leaf over by it, I believe. It's a little green label at the bottom and it says "So Good." And I made it with rub-ons. The label came pre-made, but it said "Best Day Ever." And I didn't really need "Best Day Ever" on this layout. I guess I could have used it because according to him, it was the best apple ever. But I went ahead and tucked the leaves in sequence. And on top of it, it says "So Good." And I added that with rub-ons. Again, just to cover up the "Best Day Ever." And then the acrylic piece from Color Cast Designs, I'm going to add right here at the bottom that just says "I love you." And then I tucked in the wood veneer leaves, or here's our little wood veneer leaves. They're super thin. They're not thick wood veneer at all, but they are so cute and so detailed. They're etched in, so they make really good embellishments on layouts. And I tucked those in the leaf clusters and then just dropped sequins all around the layout. And I used, again, fall cider, and I used a lot of the brown ones, and I made sure that I had pink and green in each of the cluster areas because I didn't have a whole lot of pink and green left, but I had plenty of other brown ones and stuff like that. So I went ahead and used those ones instead and just added the pink and green randomly here and there so they were in each area. And here's a few close-ups. I hope you guys enjoyed today's layout, even though my camera messed up. But hopefully you get the idea of how I created the layout. And if you have any questions, drop them down below. And again, I really enjoyed the layout. And today is, again, acrylic stash busting with my friends. So go ahead and check out their layouts and see what they created with acrylic, because we love using the acrylic on the layouts and getting it out of our stash. And I will see you guys later. Bye.